Hi, this is Mojtaba Oryui and I'm really excited to share with you the latest build of GrowInfinite, which is 1.2. In this build, I added an attribute to the tool called NU, and this attribute will help us to build up vector at the end. And lots of deformers are updated, so if you add noise or gravity or bend or accurate bend or twist, anything growing inside, growing projection, will also update the NU attribute and normal attribute on their own, and it will really help us to create exact shapes. This will mean if you are going to create an antenna using GrowInfinite, you can easily do that and you will have no extra rolling. It was corrected by version 1.103 but had some problems in deeper levels. It was possible to see some rolling that was unwanted. I've corrected that as well, and in this tutorial I'm just going to share with you the creation process of Crassula Pyramidalis, which was suggested with some of my friends over the Facebook. And let's start from scratch and do this. Let's create the growing surface. Let's add a polyframe to generate normals. In this build we can also have just one point as our growing surface, but let's do something like 3. Growing copy, growing branch, next level points, and next level points adding. Let's add a branch transform. One of the things I really need to do right now is changing the size to something like 3 and 3. And if you go inside here, you just need to change the rotation to -90. I don't need to have regular rotation or mirrored rotation, so I'll put a 0 here. Also in the X rotation we have a growth reaction, which is not needed for this guy. And as I said, we have possibility to use just one point as next level. If you do that, you may see some errors here, and if you increase the density right here, that problem would be solved. Let's continue with 3 guys down here and increase the length of our drawings to something like 7 possibly. I need to change the scale, and here I just want to have less variation. Let's check our growing motion, which would be something like 1 in frame 144 and 0.001. Nice. One point about this growing parameter is that if you are going to create a small change during the motion, for example, if you have from 0.9 to 1 from over something like 50 frames, from 70 to 140 or 70 frames. It may cause some flickers over the next levels if you calculate normals for each frame. If you add some growing normals for the next level, next level will be here, and do that, it may create some flickers. So you can use the reference frame. For example, if you are going to use the growing normals, you can just put a customized value here, 1000 for example, and it will solve that problem for you. But I've changed the defaults in this version, so the normals would be calculated over each frame, and I've restricted the possibilities of flickering. But it is, yes, possible, and if you had such situation, you can use the reference frame. For example, instead of $F, you can have just 1000 and delete channels. Yes, in this way you will have no flickering. But let's continue and see what more we can do. For such a small change, I really suggest that do such things using the growing retimer, as you have constant number of points from start to finish. You are able to create a super slow-mo using the growing retime, which is really fine. Also, you are able to simply select the branches that you don't like to have and hit delete, and Blast will do the rest. And if you have some flickering branches, you can delete them, but you can see any flicker in this video. But I wanted to make sure that if everyone had such problem, the solution is shared right here. So let's continue and do some deformation over these main trunks. You can see it is, I don't like that fast move. You can see, yes, it's really fast. I just want to smooth it out. To smooth that, I have this curve here, and let's see how it changed. Nice. We also can change this guy here. Cool. Let's continue with some deformation. Say we want to have some noise. I want more noise from the beginning of the growth and not much scale effect. Also, I need really lower frequency amount. I just don't need to have any randomization. I want them to get some noise in just one field. As you can see, they're getting noise in a similar way. So I can decrease this a bit. Okay. If we just remove this grow power, I think they will have a constant loop from start to finish. It will not change, but I just need to have some sort of change a bit. I also want to have some grow deformation, which means if it is going to be grown, we'll have some deformation. You can see the noise pattern is changing over the growth. Nice. Now we are able to add some twist, for example. Twist is twisting the branches, but I want to have the global mode, which will twist my branch over a global point. I just want to change the pivot position to something like here. Yeah, it's better. And it's really high. I don't want that much. Yes, it is now taking some twist. This is the twist over the lens. If you change this, you can see the twist is changed over the length of the branches you have. And this one is the reaction manager of the growing twist. It means that if you have less growth, it will twist less than higher growth. For example, if you have some tight value here, as it's a small value of twist, you cannot see that much change, but if we increase that, you can see, yeah. When the growth is more completed, it will twist it more. Yeah. I just want to have a small value. I also don't like the deformation, it's too much. And this twist should be more smoothly changing. Nice. I can also do some more tweak about the scale. Yes, it is better. Let's create the growing normal to calculate the normals and create the growing copy to build next level. I want to have some regular pattern in next level, so I'll use the next level points regular and then adding, let's change it to something like 100. The branch transform, oops, it was about the previous level. I needed to do that right here. I will have no next level on this. Okay, I also need to have more density to change this noisy pattern and make a more regular looking pattern. rotation, I don't want to have the mirrored rotation. I just want to have the regular rotation, which should be something like 19. If you don't have normals, you can see the brands are not getting true direction, so we will need to have some normals here. And if we increase this next level points, you can see the pattern more exactly, but let's decrease that for now and complete what are going to have in terms of shape and move. So I don't need to have the scale change about the base position. I want all of them to be big. I want to have a little bit taller leaves, and I also don't need to have any rotation reaction here. For now, it should be 0. And you can see it is exactly following the base branches, and it will help us in lots of scenarios. So let's add a branch bend. With this branch bend, we are going to create the bending of our leaves. Here we are able to change the variation. I want the bend to exist after the growth, so I want to change this scale a bit here, something like 1 from the tip value, but let's change it to something like 10 and say that even if it's fully grown, we should have some bend. You can see we have the bend till the end, but if we get more close to tip of branch or anywhere the growth is starting, you will have more bend scale, but this bend scale is not something we like to have. Let's do some regular simple next level points. And value of 1. Okay. You can see we are just getting a bend in opposite direction that we need. So we can simply come here and change the bend value to negative value, and it will produce the shape we are looking for. For bend variation, I think we can do some more fun. We just need to increase this value from here to 0.3. Yes, it is changing nicely. I like the changing pattern from start to tip. And let's also change the scale. This bend scale is a little bit of tricky. I want the real newborns to be more and more bending, and let's increase this. Yes, it is kind of better. Let's change this from here to 1000. It is so high, we can decrease that to something like 500. Okay. As you can see, it's not similar to the board we are looking to. It should be more closed. It's now open. But if we want to manage such things with the growing copy, it may take more time to reach the results we are looking for. So I tried to do something more easy. I've created the branch manipulation, which will help us to build this shape. But for having some randomization scale, I think it's better to do that using a color from here. Let's create a growing color, or we have some settings here. Yes, we can do the scale change over here. Let's say that we want an amplitude of 100 and have some changes right here, and see the scale noise. As you can see now, we are taking some random change over the scale. This scale change is better to be done in the growing copy. Manipulation can do that, but as we are doing some bend, it may cause problems to fit this bend and avoid these intersections we are seeing right here if we do the scale later on. So I will do a scale right here and correct the rotation using the manipulation. Let's create some growing color to provide enough information for the growing manipulation. And with this color, I will need to change it to the spline. And move it right here. I also need to change the noise blue. I don't want a noise from base to blue. I just want to have some noise blue. So let's change this. If we just put a 0 here for a second, you can see the noise below is working as well. We possibly need to increase the frequency. Let's change it to the spline mode and increase the frequency. Yes, it is good for what I need to do. And let's turn it back to 1. Let's create a growing manipulation. I may need to make a wider amount of red. So let's use the growing manipulation here and do the color effect. I just want to change the rotation based on the red. So I will come here to color effect, rotation and X, then increase the X value to something like 100, and you can see it's immediately reacting. And if we move these points, you have the real-time control to design your shape. And it to be negative 100. As you can see, we are controlling the tip of shape, tip of our branch right now, and it is basically helping to make the look down here in this image. And we can also do some scale change. Let's say that we want red to affect twice, and then change this to 2.5 and make my change right here. You can see it is now producing some sort of controls which will help in lots of cases. The rotation is cool for here, but I want to have some negative value here, so I put a point down here and move that in negative. You can see they're getting and creating the result I need. I need to have some more points and do that thing for some other branches. Okay, slider will work in these cases. If we move this manually, it will turn it back to 0. So let's move that from here to some more negative value. And this, we can just decrease the bend down here. Okay, we can continue manipulation and reach the result we are going to have. So let's continue branch manipulation. I just want to have some scale change here using the red. Let's see, we need to make them bigger. And change them to the spline mode. As you can see, sort of like this. We can continue manipulation and reach the results, but let's continue with creation of next levels, which would be the mesh. Let's create a growing normal to calculate normals for our mesh generator. And before that, let's have a look to the motion we have created till now. Nice. Now we can continue with creation of the motion, and as you can see, and the animation has some linear stuff. It has some ease, but it's not enough, and I can say we can to make that ease more true using the growing retimer. So let's continue with creation of our mesh. Adding a pure view. And leaves mesh generator. As you can see, it is now producing really exact shape for us, and the problems we had in the previous builds are gone completely. But the speed of the growing leaves mesh generator is really good for situations like this, and it will help us to create huge amount of polygons if we needed faster than before. It is sort of working. I just need to change the weight. It is so high. I don't want this ramp to affect much, so I change this a bit and then decrease this value from here. Leaves with a smaller lens should have a width like the bigger one, as they can have not much width change. So I need to change this a bit, and you can see it is not working. Let's also check decreasing of this lens. Yes, it is more close to what we need to have. But we can also change the width based on the growth as well. So we can come here and in the grow impact change this, as you can see. Then the newborn branches and leaves will have a smaller scale, so we kind of manage the tip of branch we had. We also can have some variation or randomization about the rotation of rolling around their parent. So we have the blue to Y rotation. Let's come here and increase that blue to Y rotation. You can see it's slightly changed, but if we increase this value, you can see it is really getting lots of variations. And it is kind of working, but let's decrease that. We also have the red to Y rotation multiplier, and here we are able to increase this red amount to make some twisting look if we needed to have. Yes, it is something we may see in the Crassula Pyramidalis. Let's continue with leaves mesh. And let's add some thickness here with the poly extrude. We need to have small values to avoid later problems. Output back and create group for back and front. Let's also create a group for side. Now we can create some thickness. Let's create a point swap. I will need to have extrude back and extrude front, and take the position and displace align the normals. We need to create some normal slope here, and we are able to use color data for displacement. Vector to float. I want to have the red to amount, and I need to have a ramp for parameter and change it to a spline ramp and name it ramp red, and then you can multiply the result with some parameter which will be called the displacement, and should be something low. We need to change this ramp from red, and we need newborn leaves to have a smaller thickness, so we can fix this from here. And let's add another normal slope. You can see we are getting some tip of leaves problem. It might be solved using smooth, but I want to do some more fixes for this guy. We are able to add some values to the tip of leaves. Let's say oops. Okay, we have the section deformation to solve this problem. So you just need to have some deformation or dissection in negative -0.01. It may also be solved using another force. For example, we can create some gravity using the base normal. Let's do this. We need to change the divisions to something like 5, I guess. Let's add a gravity, growing branch gravity, and in this one I will need to have more gravity for newborn leaves, BSP line mode, and just to have a gravity right here. So I will decrease the gravity for base, and I want all of the branches to have gravity, so I disable this guy, and I don't need to have base size impact. Let's use the custom vector attribute or normal gravity weight. We can use any attributes for force. If we want to have normals, we can use normals. If we want to have base level normals, we can use that. And I want to have normal gravity, and you can see it is now creating some gravity, but this is not enough. We need to have some drawing color. In this growing color, I will load the 0 preset to turn everything to black, and let's change the mode to on mouse up. I really like that. And let's go into the UVs. I need U to red, and position of 0.5 should have value of 1. So let's see the results. Yes, we are creating a red from UVs. And let's come here, and I need the RGB channel switcher, as it can switch the channels I'm using. If we put 1 here, it will switch the red channel to green, and then we can continue with that channel. I also have the add mode, which helps me to add the color data to previous colors. So I'll use the add for blending mode. Now in this gravity, we can use the color data, which is basically green. I want smaller greens, have less gravity, and you can see it is starting to work. And I need to have some rounded shape here. Let's change it to the spline, move it right here, and this guy here. As you can see, we have kind of sorted the Tiva branch. I don't like to have that much grow effect, so starting branches have the gravity. You can see we now have some more fun gravity, but it is really going crazy in continuing branches. So let's change this from here to something like here. I know it is crazy right now, but I'll do something for that. So we can just decrease the gravity amount, and you can see it will sort things out. Let's create poly extrude, normal, and point up to see the displacement. Now we can see the newborn branches. Newborn leaves actually have a smaller displacement than the completely grown. But we need to change the thickness right here. And you're kind of done with this guy. Let's say we just need to have some retiming and producing caching data. So let's do apply cache. Change this to, we can also don't touch it. Just load from disk and delete channels. I want just to 140 and save that and save the disk in background. Thank you for visiting this tutorial. I will retime and look at this guy and share with you the results. Thank you.